Hey guys, Joe Robert here. In this video, you're about to see a live stream from inside of the POD Ninjas Facebook group where I was just talking about 3 things that I did years ago to change the trajectory of my print-on-demand results. If you guys are not a member of the group, there's a link down in the description. And without further ado, let's jump into the live stream.
Happy Monday. Wanted to go live today to talk about 3 changes that I made as a beginner with my print-on-demand business that eventually led to a massive change in results and mainly around profits, right? The changes that I'm going to talk about today were things that allowed me to truly scale print-on-demand products on a Shopify store. And hopefully you'll get something out of this today. When you guys join in, please say hello. Let me know if the stream looks okay. And then if you can hear me and all that stuff, make sure to also drop some likes on the stream. That it's not for my own ego. It's to make sure that other people here in the group actually see the stream. I'm just pinning this stream to the top so that way people can find it. But like I said, when you guys join in, say hello. I'll be talking about 3 changes that I made in my print-on-demand business as a beginner that eventually led to the success that I've seen over the past couple of years. These things that we're going to talk about today are also the primary things that I work with clients on in terms of helping them to create profitable print-on-demand businesses as well. Hopefully, you guys did have a good weekend. Hopefully, your week is also off to a good start. Look at this comment right here. Hey, Joe, you're looking great. Thank you. You too. I don't know who you are, but because it just says Facebook user. I'm using StreamYard, so if you guys haven't set up StreamYard, I just can't see your name here, but that's fine. We'll keep going. But thank you for the compliment there. Hopefully, like I said, you guys had a good weekend. Talking about today, 3 changes that I made in my business. Right. When I was new, I've talked about this a whole bunch, but if you guys haven't heard it, like when I was new, right, like I started print on demand in 2016, and at that point there wasn't like a lot of people like actually making content, like teaching print on demand and things like that. So because it was kind of new, so a lot of it was like trial and error for me. And at the beginning, I did not do well. Before I ever made like consistent profitable sales, I had opened probably 7 stores. I had wasted a bunch of money on Shopify subscriptions and working with designers and just not knowing what it was I should be selling, and also wasting a bunch of money on promotion. Right, I did a whole bunch of trial and error with Facebook ads and Instagram influencers and all of that, and until I made the 3 changes that we're going to go through today, I never saw like true consistent profits, right? And like I said, these are the things as well that I primarily work with clients on now at this point. And if you're someone that is looking to create a side hustle with print on demand, these are 3 things that you definitely might want to consider doing as well. So hopefully that sounds good. If you guys are ready for these 3 things, type number 1 into the chat. And make sure to like the stream. That is not for my own ego. It helps the stream to be shown to more people here in the group. But the first thing is kind of the opposite of what you hear a lot of people talk about when you are watching content, whether it's on YouTube or just like Facebook posts in general, when people are talking about print on demand. One of the things they always tell you to do, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing to do, it just might be limiting. The first thing is that a lot of people, they say, hey, sell, like choose a niche that choose a niche that you like, choose a niche that you're very passionate about, choose a niche that you understand, right? And I totally understand the mindset behind that, right? It's important to make sure that you understand what the niche might want. It's important to know different things about the niche and things like that. I'm not saying that's not beneficial, but when I first started print on demand, all I ever did was try to sell to niches that I was interested in. And I had to realize that maybe I'm like a boring person and I don't really have interests that are scalable, meaning the niches that I'm interested in. Like one of the first stores I ever tried selling in, or one of the first niches was a store that I built. And I've talked about this in the past on YouTube and things like that. But one of the first stores I ever created was a store where I was selling t-shirts, and the t-shirts just had like silly quotes on them about being a husband. My first niche ever was basically being a husband. I was making silly designs and trying to create like sarcastic and funny things about being a husband and throwing it on shirts, right? And over time, I started to, I can even remember I went on vacation once to Maine. This is kind of a side story. I didn't mean to even bring this up, but I've shared this photo here in the group before. But I go to vacation every summer in Maine, and there is a store that at the beach that sells a whole bunch of different T-shirts and tank tops, and they have a whole bunch of them in the window, and there's like tons of different niches, right? It's like a t-shirt store, right? And all these t-shirts that they had in the window were for like all these various niches, right? Things like hunting and fishing and military and police officer and nurses and a whole bunch of different jobs like plumbers, electricians, like all this different stuff, right? And I was looking at it and I was like, wow, I wonder how those types of things would do like with Facebook ads, right? I wonder if I was like, I don't know anything about being an electrician, but like, I bet I could make products that have to do with being an electrician, right? Even though I don't know anything about it, right? And I started to create new things, right? And niches that I wasn't necessarily a member of, right? Let me know in the chat if you are someone, that chose a niche that you are yourself passionate about. And again, I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm just saying sometimes you might limit yourself. Sometimes, what happens is people discover print on demand. This certainly happened to me. I discovered print on demand. I got all excited and I started, I had my first idea, right, which was that husband store. And I started creating as many products as I could inside of that niche because I was having fun, because I was essentially creating products for myself. And then when they didn't sell, a lot of people, if that happens to them, right, they get discouraged and they sort of give up, right? I've seen a couple people in the chat saying that, they did do that, right? And again, I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm just saying that was one of the changes that I made, right? When I was starting with print on demand, one of the things that allowed me to really branch out was to choose niches that I knew nothing about, right? And it's very easy, honestly, it's very easy to do research and to be able to, come up with something that can sell, which we're going to talk about today as well, because that's one of the changes I made in terms of trying to create different products, right? The second thing I changed was what I was actually trying to sell, right? I talk about this a lot too, is that so many people, when they are starting print on demand, they watch content online, right? If you go on YouTube right now and you type in print on demand tutorial, right? Or print on demand strategy or whatever, right? You're likely going to see dozens and dozens and dozens of results that are all people saying to sell t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, right? And there's those products sell. Like, don't get me wrong. When I was new, I was able to make sales with those, right? And I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying that if you want to be able to scale and take things to the next level, you might want to think about other products, right? And that's what happened. That's what happened to me is it was a little bit different back then too, because like nowadays there's just like tons of products available that a lot of people don't even know exist in terms of print on demand, like shoes and blankets and like cool things for pets and different things for the house. And when I first started print on demand, it was like mainly shirts, right? Like it was basically shirts and mugs. And what happened is more and more products started to come out from different apps. And I was like, you know what? Like, I've tried shirts, like I've started to dabble in some of these other niches. Like I've tried shirts, I've made a few sales. I'm not super profitable because the profit margin is just inherently pretty small with a t-shirt, especially if you're using any sort of paid traffic. Let me try to switch it up, right? Let me try to switch it up to some of these other products. And how can I take it a step further and actually choose something that maybe someone in my niche will actually really want, right? Is there something about my niche that I can focus on that would make the niche want a different type of product, right? One of the products I talk about all the time, like I'll give you guys an example here. There's a product that I'm not selling it right now. I posted some results. I think it was Saturday. I posted some results of a $3,000 sales day. I'm not currently selling this product, but it is I'm going to tell you about it. It is a product that I've sold tons of units. Like I've had designs that have sold thousands of times with this product, and it's a car seat cover. It's a print on demand car seat cover that goes over the seat in your car. And one of the things that I started to do was I started to explore the military niche, right? And one thing about the military niche is they are very proud, right? They should be, and they are very proud. They want to display to others that they're a member of the military. Maybe they even have a relative that served, right? And what's cool about a car seat cover is it allows them to like take that with them into the world, right? Almost think about like bumper stickers, right? People put bumper stickers on their car to like tell other people that they are a member of a certain niche. You can do the same thing with products, right? And like I said, one example of me doing that was with car seat covers, right? There's a bunch of other products out there that you might be able to offer to your niche and have better luck with them, because the niche is going to look at it and go, wow, that is actually pretty cool that I could have something like that I could showcase to the world, right? Besides just like a simple t-shirt. And again, shirts, yes, people buy shirts, right? It's a little bit tough to break through that saturation, and the margins are pretty small. And then the quality issues are definitely there as well. But that was something, honestly, that shifted everything, because not only was I dabbling in niches that I didn't necessarily know a lot about, right? But I was choosing products that made a lot of sense for the niche. And they were products that made 2, 3, 4, even sometimes 10 times the profit margin of a t-shirt, right? Or a mug, right? When you're choosing some of these other products, you can truly take things to the next level. And if you are using paid traffic, right? If you guys haven't seen my video on YouTube, the $1 Million Print on Demand Strategy, where I talk about this, why you need to focus on paid traffic so that you can truly scale. What's cool is when you're selling a higher profit product, you can spend more on your ads, because you're still going to be profitable, right? You don't run into a situation where if the ad keeps running and even if you make a sale, you're going to lose money, right? Because if you're making more profit, you can let that ad run much longer, right? And that was something that really was beneficial to me, especially as I was learning, right? Especially as I was learning about ads and trying to figure out like how to actually scale products. Having that built-in profit margin was something that allowed me to scale even faster, right? And the third thing is that I stopped trying to make designs from scratch, right? Because and what I mean by that is raise your hand figuratively, right? Or just type number 1 in the chat if this is a thought you've ever had, right? You have an idea for a niche, you find a really cool product, then you're like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what to do for a design. Type number 1 in the chat if you've ever like been stumped on the design process, right? You don't know where to start. You kind of have a picture in your head, but you're not really sure, right? In terms of like what elements to include, what colors or text, right? Like trying to come up with quotes. You've probably heard people say in the past that like your quote, your message, any words on your design is super important. And a lot of times people draw a massive blank on that. They don't know what to do. And that was something that where I was at, right? Where I was literally trying to, every time I would launch a product, I would reinvent the wheel, right? I was choosing niches that I didn't really know a lot about. And I was then switching to a product that I hadn't really seen sold in that niche a lot. So there really wasn't much to look at. And then I was trying to basically create a design from scratch. And one of the changes that I made was that I stopped doing that. And you might be thinking, well, Joe, if you stopped creating it from scratch, then what the heck do you mean? Well, I don't know if you've ever seen me talk about this, but you can actually just steal best-selling design ideas, right? And I know that at first hearing that, you're like, wait, Joe, that doesn't sound right. But you can ethically steal best-selling design ideas. What I mean by that is doing research in your niche and finding a handful of best-selling designs. Let's say you're going to go and you're going to research like your niche for t-shirts, right? And you're going to find designs, whether you're using like a software to find these designs, or even just manual research online, looking at Facebook, Instagram, or even just on Google, right? Finding best-selling designs like on a t-shirt, right? A handful of them, and then creating your own version of them, right? Essentially taking like 3 or 4 different designs, right? Different quote ideas, text ideas, design elements, things like that, and then making your own version, right? Where you're basically getting inspired from what you are seeing. This is a process that I now call undercover design hacking, where you're basically going out and you're looking for best-selling design ideas, and then you're adapting them, to whatever product you're choosing, right? So I talked about earlier where I switched from shirts in the veteran niche to car seat covers, right? One of the things I was doing is I was going out and I was looking at veteran t-shirts, right? And then I was taking those concepts, taking similar quotes and things like that, and then putting them on a car seat cover, rearranging everything so it's a different design, and then launching it that way. And I was basically hijacking winners, for it, I guess, right? Like going out, finding best-selling designs, adapting them, changing them, making them your own, right? You don't want to copy anything. You don't want to you don't want to take a t-shirt design, send it to your designer and say, make this, you know what I mean? You want to actually make it your own. But the point is to eliminate some of that guesswork for yourself, right? Because if you're selling in a niche like I was that you didn't really know anything about, it's important to go out and find things that are best selling, right? Casey says, how do you know if they're best selling designs? It's hard to find sales stats. So you can go, let's just give you an example, right? Is let's say that you're going to go on Instagram, right? And you're going to look up things for your niche. Odds are you'll eventually stumble across a page or something like that is selling a product, right? Or maybe you see like an Instagram influencer in your niche that is promoting a product for another store, right? Well, look at the engagement on the post. Do you see, obviously you're not going to see like, okay, they sold 14 units today or whatever, but if the post is not getting any love and there's no comments, then it's probably not a good product, right? Another thing you can do is there's something called the Facebook ads library, right? Where you can go in and you can look up Facebook ads for various stores, right? So if you stumble across a store in your niche, you can go see if they're running ads, right? And let's say that it says that they started running an ad like 4 months ago and it's still running. Well, then you can assume that it's doing well, right? And that would be a good indication on how it's doing, right? Hopefully this is the question here that I was just answering for anybody that was curious. I'm happy to those are essentially, right, the three things, right? Choosing a niche that I wasn't necessarily passionate about because I found that what I was interested in was a little bit boring at times. Second was choosing products that maybe weren't so common in the niche, right? Things that could break through some of that saturation and also would make me a lot more profit margin in the process. And then step 3 of that is stopping, no longer creating designs from scratch, right? No longer sitting there with a blank mental canvas trying to come up with the entire design, but actually going out and finding best-selling design ideas on different products and then adapting them, making them my own for whatever product I wanted to sell. Those are the 3 things that truly in 2016, 2017, and beyond to this day that I've implemented in my print-on-demand stores that have allowed me to truly scale and truly take things to the next level and make real profits. And this is, like I said, something that I continue to work on with clients today. I'm happy to, take any questions that you guys may have.